Good afternoon, I'm Stacy, owner of Montana Used Bricks. And in my last video, I was talking about how excited I was to be able to do an actual Lego event here in my hometown of Helena, Montana. And I did do a little bit of prep work, so I'm going to show those videos right off the bat. So here we go. I have spent the last half hour, 45 minutes bagging up all these filler parts that I had. They are 8-ounce bags, and I believe I have 10, 15, 20, 25, 26 bags, and I think I'm going to sell them for $3 each. We'll see how that goes. I am going to be very specific that they are used parts and that there may be scratches and ink marks and that sort of thing, but I think they'll probably still sell. Half of the money that I get from these will go toward the event. And then I did get my signs done. I did one for the different links and then one for my guess the Lego jar, and there's the Lego jar in the books. So I'm slowly making progress. I have to make one more sign on the cost of these, and then I'm probably going to call it good for the day. The event was held on a Saturday from 10 to 2, so it was only 4 hours. On Friday, some of us went down early and started setting up. The person that was running the event gave me 2 tables to work with. I ended up running home like 3 different times to get more Lego to fill up that space. And I took a lot of the older sets and some of the retro sets, such as my Atari, Nintendo, 35mm camera, and Polaroid. All of those sets. Because I had those, Ryan, who brought his city, had also brought his Nintendo and Atari, but he said, since you have those, we'll let you have that little section, but here, can you put my Game Boy with yours? I put that there, and then Parker, who was running the event, had one of the Sega controllers, put that with it, so we had a little retro section, which the grown-ups really liked, and it was really fun to listen to them explaining to their kids that that was the first gaming console that they had had. So it was a lot of fun in that respect. There were so many sets. It was mainly sets, and they came from probably 4 to 6 different people brought in sets to set up. There were 2 mocks. Also, the owners of the Bozeman Bricks and Minifig, they don't have their store yet because they're still looking for a storefront, but once they get that, they're going to be ready to go. So it was really nice to be able to talk with them. It was great to meet the other people that were there. The other person, besides Ryan and Parker, who brought a lot of sets, I found out later that I actually work with her husband. We work in the same division. That was a lot of fun. They had a lot of the bigger sets. Our sets were more of the older sets and smaller sets. I took a couple of the pirate sets that I had, my son's sets from 1997, and my husband's Monster Fighters from 2012. I had a lot of the older sets. Parker has a lot of the original Harry Potter series, and Ryan had a complete city set up, and I will show you some of that video in a moment. But I do have a story to tell you. Grace, who was the other person that was setting up there, she had a Titanic, but it was in the 3 parts. She didn't have the smokestacks on it. And I said, hey, we've got the Titanic and it's built. How about we bring that down, set it behind the pieces, and then people can see the inside of what it looks like and then what the full Titanic looks like all put together. So I talked my husband into it because it's his set. He was really tired. He's had a bad week, but he's like, okay, come and help me bring it down because I'm having issues getting it apart. As those of you who have the Titanic know, it's in 3 parts. There's axles that go into it to hold it together. He had issues getting the axle out, but when we came home, I was able to get one out, and the other one, the axle was stuck in there, so he got some pliers, but the pliers were too big. And I said, do you have like needle nose pliers? He said, yeah, probably, let me go look. As he's going into the hallway closet to look for these other pliers, I'm playing around with the bigger pair, and I pull out the axle, and just as I said, hey, before I can even finish that sentence, the third of the Titanic fell off of our table onto the floor and shattered. We stood there in silence, in shock for a few moments. And then I burst into tears because it's like, oh my gosh, I know how long it took him to put that together. And I felt terrible because he was hesitant about taking it anyway. And then I broke it before we even got there. He was upset at first. He's one of those people, he's very quiet. So he just walked out of the room, came back with a box and said, could you please pick up the pieces? So we kept a lot of the bigger pieces together. So he's going to try to get it rebuilt without having to take it completely apart, but he may end up having to do that just to get it back together. But I felt so bad. And those of you that have broken a big set can probably understand how that felt. This event, they were hoping for probably about 1,000 people because they had 800 people at their first one. It was a little bit bigger space, but I gotta tell you, by 10:15, 10:30, that place was packed. It was elbow to elbow, but it was so much fun. I really didn't promote my business because I was so busy talking to people, talking to the kids, talking to the adults, just wandering around and hearing what everybody was saying. I just had a blast, and it felt so good to be around people who are as excited about Lego as I am. And I think that was, for me, was the biggest thing of this whole event. For a lot of people, if you've been to Brick World or Brick Fest, this was teeny tiny little, just like I said, a lot of sets, a couple of mocks, one that Ryan put together for his city, and you'll see that in the video I'm going to show. Also, the one that Parker did. This is the one that Parker did, and it's out on Lego Ideas. So if you could upvote it, that would be great. It's really cool. It's like an old mining shaft. It's really well done. It was very impressive to see. For those of you that did watch my last video, I had showed you a jar of Lego that I had filled up, and I was telling people it was going to be a guess how many parts are in there. The actual amount that was in that jar was 331 parts. I had two people that were really close. I had somebody who said 333 parts and somebody who said 334 parts. A lot of the little kids that came up, their parents are like, hey, you want to guess what's in there? How many is in there? And a lot of these kids were all 100. There was a lot of guesses that just said 100 on it. So I thought that was really cute to listen to them. Now I'm going to play a little bit of music and show you some of the Lego sets that were there. The first video I'm going to show you is Ryan and Rylin's contribution to this. Rylin is Ryan's 13-year-old daughter who helps him build all these Legos, and he did a complete city with the lights, and it's really impressive. It was definitely the thing that people were most drawn to at this event. And it was fun to watch everybody walk around this city and see all the detail that he had put into it. And then I have a couple of short videos of some of the other sets that were at this event. I did manage to get 2 interviews, really quick 1-minute interviews with Grace, who had brought in a lot of their bigger sets. She had the Star Destroyer, the Eiffel Tower, and just a bunch of sets that they have. It was really fun to get to talk to her, and I did a brief little interview with her. I also did a brief interview with Ryan and Rylan. Ryan is now a really good friend because not only has he given me the opportunity to buy bulk Lego from him, but he also gave us a whole bunch of new parts because he bought a bunch of sets in bulk, and one of the sets was missing some of the bags. So he said we could just have the new pieces. There was like bags, I think 14 through 17 or something, of the Steamboat. We're going to definitely be parting those out and adding those to our store inventory. But here are those 2 interviews. Have you always been into Lego?
I have wanted to always be in Legos, but when I met my husband is when I fully got into it about 14 years ago. So, kinda.
Do you remember what your first set was that you got?
Oh. It was a flower. It was a little rose. It stands about this tall. It's on my computer tower. My daughter gave it to me.
And do you have like a favorite series of Lego?
I love the flowers, but
the big stuff?
I love the big stuff.
And what was the most difficult set to put together?
For me, it was the Eiffel Tower. 40 to 45 hours to build this thing, and it was a lot of fun, but it was more of the flowers that really hurt and was the tedious part.
Tell me your name.
My name is Grace Williams, and thanks for having me.
Ryan Christian.
Rylan Christian.
Have you always been into Lego?
Yes.
So I grew up loving Lego, but back in the day, at the time, my parents really couldn't afford the bigger sets. So I've always wanted to do big builds, but never had the opportunity until I got my own job. And
do you have a favorite series that you like to build?
so I like castle stuff, and Rylan likes city stuff. So when we started getting into Lego a lot, I gave her the option, do you want to build a city or do you want to build a castle? And she wanted the castle or the city, so that's what we went with.
She won.
Yep.
Okay, and what has been the most difficult set that you've built?
Oh, definitely the Daily Bugle.
The Daily Bugle, you think?
You dropped it once.
I did drop it
Okay,
once.
but does that make it difficult though?
Yes, because it's unsturdy. It's so
very
hard.
unsturdy. So I really enjoy building unless it's like a lot of repetitive in there. And so the AT-AT Walker back there, that one was the most tedious one, I would say.
Okay. And how long did it take you to build your city?
3 years.
We've been working on it for 3 years. We got the first 3 sets, right when COVID started is when we got the first 3 sets, and then it went from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As you can probably tell, I was really excited to do this event. It was so much fun. I can't even describe the good feelings that I got from this event. I was also talking to some other people that I work with that are also into Lego. We're really considering starting some kind of Lego group in our area. Ryan very much wants to be able to do a community build where everybody builds a little portion of something. We are also trying to talk Parker into letting more people bring in sets and mocks and just making this an even bigger event because we had so much fun. And I think we almost have him talked into it, so we'll find out. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.